Welcome to the Effortless English Show with the world's #1 English teacher, AJ Hoge, where AJ's more than 40 million students worldwide finally learn English once and for all, without the boring textbooks, classrooms, and grammar drills. Here's AJ with a quick piece to help you learn to speak fluent English effortlessly.
Hi, I'm AJ Hoge, the author of Effortless English, Learn to Speak English Like a Native. And this is the Effortless English Show, the show that teaches you to speak English powerfully. Now, last week, I told a story about a trip to Nepal. And telling that story brought up some memories about my very first trip abroad, meaning my very first trip outside of America, outside of the United States. Now, this was many years ago, back when I believe I was 27 years old. And I really wanted to travel. I was excited to see the world. And because I had never been to another country, I wanted to go someplace super different, very, very different than the United States. So I didn't want to go to Europe, too similar. And so I decided to go to India. And during the summer, I got my ticket. I flew to India and arrived in Bombay, which it seems to have been renamed Mumbai now. I'm not sure which one to call it. I'll call it Bombay since that's what it was called when I went there. And I stayed in this part of Bombay that was way on the outside of the city. Not in the middle, not where tourists stay. No foreigners stayed in the area where I was. So, I arrived, went to my hotel, and basically went to bed because it was this long 23-hour horrible flight and I was exhausted. So I don't know, I slept like 14, 15 hours. And the next day I got up and of course I wanted to go into the city center and see some of the famous sights, see kind of the tourist stuff and look around the center of Bombay. So I walked to the train station and got onto a train, but I guess I don't know what class. I must have been in third class or something because I climbed into a car and it was basically just this big empty train car. So no seats, right? Just everybody's was just sitting on the floor of this big empty rectangular train car. So I got in and I sat down. And I'm excited. Like, yeah, all right, this is amazing. And kind of scared too, nervous. This was my first time abroad. I'm in this strange country. I don't know how anything works. So I'm also quite nervous, honestly. And so I sit there and I'm just kind of thinking to myself and imagining what I'm going to do. The train starts moving. And I'm not really paying attention to anyone else in the car. I'm lost in my own thoughts, just in my own head. Where am I going to go? Where am I going to eat? Do I need to exchange money? Just all these kind of practical things going through my head. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, just lost in my own thoughts. And then I look up and around at the other people in the car. First thing I realize, they're all men, no women. I don't know why. They were all men. The second thing I realized is that everyone in that car, 20 to 30 people, were all staring at me. Nobody was talking. It was dead quiet. Right? Of course, you could hear the sound of the train track. Indian trains are kind of loud, right? So all this rattling and shaking, which is why I guess I didn't really notice that no one was talking. But when I looked up and looked around, I realized no one was talking. Everyone was staring silently at me. Now, if you've never been to India, Indians have a way of staring that is a bit unique. When they stare, first of all, no smiles. And this was the case. So when I looked around, they were not only staring at me, but they had these kind of flat, emotionless faces. Everyone looked like this. 20 to 30 people staring at me like that. A second thing about Indians is that most of them will not look away when you look back at them, right? In most countries, let's say, you're sitting and someone's staring at you for some reason. If you look up and then you meet their eyes, right, and they see that you see them, in most countries, the people will look away. They'll quickly, For example, I'm in Japan right now, and the Japanese definitely do this. They might stare at me sometimes because I'm, a foreigner and blue eyes and all that. But as soon as I look at them, their eyes will go down. They will look away immediately. But on this trip, stuck in this car, I look up, 20 to 30 men staring at me. So I look back at them. None of them look away. They all continue staring at me. They just lock onto my eyes. And again, no smile, nothing. Sometimes in America, if someone's staring at you and then you look and you see them, if they don't look away, they'll usually smile, or they'll shake their head, kind of like just to show they're being friendly. None of these guys did that. They all nobody moved. They just kept staring at me. So, I'm young, I'm 27, first time in another country. All these guys are looking at me and they look angry. They look like they're all pissed off. And when I look at them, none of them look away. They just keep, So I'm like, oh crap. So I look down and immediately I'm scared to death. Right? This is my first time ever in another country. And I'm in this car, and this car is moving now. I'm stuck in this car. And these guys look mean. They look unfriendly. They look mean. So I start thinking to myself, oh, crap, maybe it's because I'm American. Maybe they don't like Americans, right? Maybe they hate Americans. And somehow they know I'm American. I also looked quite strange. Before the trip, I had shaved my head, so I was pretty much bald. And at that time, I wore glasses, and I had these little round glasses. So I had these little round wire glasses, and I was bald. So I'm looking down, and these thoughts start going through my head faster and faster. Oh, crap. These guys hate Americans. These guys, they probably hate Americans. What are they going to do? Or maybe they want to rob me. Maybe they want to steal from me. Are they going to attack me? So I glance up again, thinking, maybe they've changed their mind or they got bored. They're all still looking at me, staring at me with like the stone face. No one looks away. No one says anything. Not a smile, not a nod of the head, nothing. They look like serial killers, like without emotion. I'm thinking they could just kill me without feeling. So my heart starts beating, right? And again, I look down, I start just staring at the ground, and starting to think, what the hell am I going to do? What am I going to do? What if they try to rob me? I had my bag with me, little backpack. And of course, I had some money with me. I had a bunch of US dollars to exchange. So that was my first thought, is they're going to try to rob me. They're going to try to steal from me. Take my money. And maybe they're going to beat me up, beat the crap out of me when they rob me. So I'm thinking, maybe if I just give them the money, maybe they won't hurt me. Then I look out the door, it's just like an open door on the train. So I'm thinking maybe I could just jump out right now. And glance over, but the train's going too fast. So I'm like, I'll hurt myself. I'll break my leg if I try to jump out and escape. And so, my heart's beating faster, and my mind's getting faster and faster and racing. I'm thinking, maybe I can fight them. But, I was just this skinny kid. I'm not very muscular now, but at that time, I was skinny. I mean, no muscle. No muscles at all. So and there's 20, 30 of them. even though I was still bigger than most of them, thought there's no way I'm going to fight off all those guys. So, I'm just thinking, I'm panicking. And I'm just asking myself again, what the hell am I going to do? What the hell am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? I'm my first day, my first morning abroad on my very first trip, and I'm going to get beat up or robbed or killed. As I'm thinking about this, I start sweating. And I'm terrified to look up again. In my mind, I'm kind of crazy at this point. In my mind, I'm thinking if I look at them, that's going to make them angry and that's when they're going to attack. I don't know, like maybe it's like, sometimes with a dog, like a wild dog, like that's aggressive, that bites people. They tell you don't look them in the eyes. Don't look the dog in the eyes because the dog thinks it's a challenge and that can cause the dog to attack you. So you actually avoid looking at the dog. You don't look at the dog's eyes. So I think it's sort of the same kind of thinking was going through my head. Don't look up again. Don't meet their eyes because you might you might cause them to attack. All right, I'll tell you the conclusion of this story in a minute. First, let's go to Twitter. As you know, I like to answer listeners, fans, members' Twitter questions or comments. So let's see what Twitter has for me today. Okay, first of all, we have Gopi1510, who actually is from India. Haha, what do you know? And he asks, what about reading comic books or newspapers and listening to the news? Are these, good ways to practice and improve my English? Well, absolutely yes. Fantastic ways to improve your English. In fact, there actually have been several research studies, academic studies about comic book reading. And whether comic book reading, helps with reading skills, with vocabulary, with grammar, and with writing. And what the research studies found were that yes, in fact, reading comic books does help all of those things. So reading comic books, great idea. If you like comics, read lots and lots and lots of comic books in English. Now, for adults, they're called graphic novels. Adults who like comic books or comic books that are about adult subjects, we call them graphic novels. They're just comic books, really, but it's kind of the adult name for comic books. For example, you might know this movie 300 came out a few years ago. It's about the Spartans fighting the Persians, in ancient Greece. Well, that movie was originally a graphic novel, a comic book. And the writer, Frank Miller, he's done several. He's done a Batman one. He's done a bunch of them. So you could read his graphic novels, his comic books. Or if you just like Spider-Man or whatever, it doesn't matter. Yes, read. They actually have a lot of good vocabulary in them. So that's really great. And the other cool thing about comic books is they have pictures. And the pictures can make it easier to guess the meaning of new or unknown words, right? Because you can see the picture, you can guess what's happening, and that can help you understand the situation, the context, and therefore the English. So thumbs up on comic books. Read them if you like them. If you don't like comic books, read something else. That's always the rule with reading and listening. Choose things that you enjoy. But if you enjoy comic books, absolutely, they are effective. All right, here's a common one. Ahmed Yusuf says, hi, Mr. AJ. I really appreciate all your advice to improve our English. I'm good in listening, but I'm nervous when I speak. Super common. Well, first of all, if you're good at listening, that's great because you're ahead of most people. So that's really good news. However, if you're nervous speaking, here's my best advice. Do more repeat listening. See, for speaking, we don't need tons of vocabulary, lots and lots of vocabulary. You need to master the main, most common vocabulary to speak well. Now, to understand well, to listen well, you have to understand lots of vocabulary. A lot more. But for active vocabulary, meaning you can actually use it well, quickly, when you speak, you don't need as much. You can communicate very effectively, even with, a fairly small number of words. By fairly small, I mean, 5,000, let's say. Now, to get those words really deep into your brain, to make them automatic, you need to hear them hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times each, maybe even thousands of times. And the best way to do that is to repeat your favorite audios again and again and again. So if you're using my courses, for example, listen to each of those lesson modules, lesson sets, 30 times or more each. 50 times or more each. Repeat them again. Listen to those audios 2-3 times a day for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or more. And then go to the next one, and then after a couple of months, go back and review those things again, all those audios, and listen to them even more times. And with all that repetition, those phrases, those words, and the pronunciation, they'll all go deeper, 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 and then you'll find that you start using them automatically. In the beginning, just a few at a time, but eventually more and more and more. This is exactly what happens with small children learning their own language. All right, that's Twitter for now. Back to the story. You'll remember that I was in this railroad car. No seats, nothing, right? Kind of dirty. 20 to 30, I don't remember exactly the number, 20 to 30 Indian men staring at me with this look of, like a killer look, like a heartless, emotionless face of stone. We call this a stony face, kind of. Right? Like killers, really. And I'm panicking, and I'm trying to think, how am I going to escape this situation? And a few solutions came into my mind very quickly. As my heart's beating, I'm sweating, I'm panicking. It's not just fear, it's panic, extreme fear at this point as time goes on. So first I look at the door, it's open. I think I can just stand up, run, and jump out and escape. If I do it quickly, I'll surprise them and I'll get away. But then I realize the train's going too fast. If I do that, I'm going to break my leg or hurt myself or kill myself. So I can't do that. So then I think, well, I got to fight. But I was this kind of skinny kid, and I'm not much of a fighter, especially then. I was 27. No muscle. There are 20 to 30 of these guys. They looked really tough and scary. And I realized there's no way I'm going to be able to fight all these guys. No way. So then I think, well, maybe they just want to rob me. Maybe they just want to steal my money and my things. Maybe if I just give them the money and the bag without a fight, maybe they'll leave me alone. Maybe they won't hurt me. Of course, that would have been terrible. Oh, God, first day, I lose all my money and my ID and my passport and everything. So, I'm panicking about that. Oh, crap, what will I do if I lose my passport and my money? Oh, no. Just looking down, and I'm terrified. Just, and in this kind of terror and fear, I finally just glance up one more time, just to see, are they getting closer? What are they doing? And I glance up. They're all still staring at me with that hate in their eyes. And just because I'm so afraid and nervous, I kind of give them this kind of panicked smile. I go, that kind of fearful, panicky smile. Like that kind of. And when I do that, bam! the whole spell, the whole situation shatters, breaks. In an instant, every face in that railroad car, every single one of them, break into these huge smiles. They all just, these huge smiles, their eyes light up, and they all move towards me. And they're all extending their hands to shake my hand, kind of pushing each other out of the way to be the first one to shake my hand. Like, oh, hi, sir. How are you? Where are you from? Excited. And I'm totally shocked. I'm like, what the hell is happening? These guys were going to kill me and rob me. And now they're all like these big grins. Oh, hi, sir. How are you? They're calling me sir. So I'm like, oh, hi. And I put my hand out. Oh, I'm from America. And I'm still worried, like, oh, maybe they hate Americans. They're gonna be angry. And they're like, oh, America. Oh, New York, California. You know, which usually almost everywhere I travel, always the first two guesses, New York and California. But at that time, I was from Georgia, so I said, no, from Georgia. None of them knew where Georgia was. So, oh, what is Georgia? Where is Georgia? So I start talking to them. Well, it's in the southeast. And then they start joking with me. Oh, you look like Gandhi. You look like Gandhi. Your head is shaved. You have the glasses. Oh, Gandhiji, you look like Gandhi. And and they start laughing and they're joking. And they're like, you know, Indians, when they're friendly with you, you know, they'll touch. So they're kind of patting me on the arm and, you know, on the shoulder. And so the rest of the train ride, probably 25 minutes, they're just asking me tons and tons of questions. They're smiling. They're excited. They start asking me about American culture. Oh, do you know Michael Jackson? You like Michael Jackson? And they start showing me their dancing moves. It was crazy. And then when we arrived at the final train station downtown, they all start, you know, they're kind of, you know, again patting me on the back and, you know, say, oh, have a good day. Oh, good luck to you. Oh, welcome to India. Enjoy Bombay. Goodbye, sir. Goodbye. And they're waving me off. And I have this huge smile on my face. And I feel fantastic and just wonderful. And I'm walking away. And as I'm walking away, I think back to just, you know, 30 minutes ago, 30 minutes before. And I feel like a total asshole. Like just a jackass. Like a stupid jackass. Right? That I'm sitting here thinking all these super friendly guys are going to hurt me and kill me and rob me and beat me up. Like all that crazy crap going through my head. We'll come back to this in a minute. Couple more Twitter questions. Then I'll tell you about the rest of the story. We'll finish up the story. All right, back on Twitter. Okay, Kaula, one of our superstars, who I've actually met in Istanbul, and my wife as well have met. She asked, do you like the movie Whiplash? She just recently saw the movie Whiplash and has recommended it. And I haven't seen that movie yet. So it's about a drummer. Actually, I think it's about a kid, a student, kid meaning like college age maybe, who is a drummer and he's learning. He wants to be a professional drummer, like a great drummer. And then he has a teacher who's quite tough, who pushes him to become great. And I've heard it's a great movie, but actually, no, I haven't seen it yet. So maybe I'll give a review about it in the future. But, you know, if you like music, I've heard that it's a great movie. So if you're looking for a movie that's in English that is, you know, interesting and might have a good message, that might be a good one. All right, next Twitter question. This is more of a comment. Hallie Tresai says, AJ, you are the Steve Jobs of the English teaching industry. Well, I hope so. Let's hope Effortless English becomes as big as Apple. I think we have a long way to go. But thank you. Maybe I should start wearing black turtleneck shirts, you know, instead of the suit and the tie. I can start wearing just the black shirts and the jeans. cut my hair close and go back to wearing those wire glasses like in India. Get that Steve Jobs look going. All right, let's see. All right, and let's see. This is another question. This actually several people on Twitter have just commented about combining exercising and learning English, doing them both at the same time. And I think this was started by me posting on Twitter about my own Spanish learning, talking about how I have been listening to Spanish while running. So I'm a runner. I'm training for, first I'm training for a big hike in Spain. That's coming up in April, May, June. But then in September of this year, I'll be doing a 50-mile run. Not really a race. I'm not racing anyone. It's just a 50-mile run, which is about, I think, 85, 90 kilometers. It's an ultra marathon. It's a double marathon. So that's a big, long race. I've never gone that far ever. I've done a regular marathon before, but a double marathon, I'm almost scared to think about it because it seems so tough. So anyway, it's a long time to train for that. Almost a whole year for me to train for that race in September. So, of course, I'm doing a lot of running. So I realized, I should combine them both. I can use my time efficiently. While I run, I can also listen to Spanish. So I can be learning and improving my Spanish and at the same time getting healthier and stronger. So when I posted that, lots of other Effortless English members on Twitter have responded saying that they too use this technique. They go outside, they go walking or running with their MP3 player, and they listen to Effortless English lessons at the same time. So it's a great way to combine two fantastic activities, walking or running, getting healthy, and learning English at the same time. Now, the other cool thing about this is that because you're walking or running, you will naturally have more energy, right? You're creating a lot of energy in your body. And when you create energy in your body, it energizes your mind also. And when you have more energy, it's easier to concentrate. And when you concentrate better, guess what? You learn faster. So by listening to English while walking or running, you'll actually learn English faster. It's a more effective method than just sitting on your butt, getting sleepy. So I highly recommend, whenever you can, use my Effortless English lessons, yes, but do it while you're out walking. Get out and move, get outside. Or you could do it while you're riding a bicycle, going for a hike, anything like that. All right, time to finish the story about my very first trip in India. So I had all those ideas in my head, all that fear, all that panic in my head, caused by really a misunderstanding, a difference in culture, right? That kind of behavior in the United States, someone just staring at you and then not looking away and not smiling, that is aggressive behavior in America. If someone does that to me in the United States on a subway, I realize, ooh, this person might be dangerous. They might be crazy or dangerous. But in India, it's fairly normal for people just to stare at something that's interesting. They were just staring at me because I looked strange to them. I was in an area where they never had tourists or foreigners. And I looked kind of weird, a shaved head and little glasses, so kind of like Gandhi and really thin. So like this blue-eyed American Gandhi or something. Kind of strange to them. So that's all it was. And that experience really taught me a valuable lesson. I'm glad, I'm happy that it happened on my first day of travel. The very first day, full day, when I was outside of America, I had that experience. Because it taught me that most of the fear was in my own head. That we create most of that fear. When we think other people are judging us, when we think other people want to hurt us. Yes, there are dangerous people in the world. Yes, there are people who will try to hurt you, and you need to be able to defend yourself against them and deal with them. Definitely. But most of the time, it's just not the case. Most of the time, it's in our own head. We are creating it with our own crazy thoughts and fears and insecurities. I see this with English learners a lot. No, you don't think that people are going to attack you. But what do English learners often fear? Being judged, right? Having your grammar judged, having your pronunciation judged. You fear that when you speak English, other people, especially Americans or British people, native speakers, you fear that they're going to think you're stupid or you're foolish, or they're going to be annoyed with you, or they're going to think bad things about you. Oh God, this person's making a lot of grammar mistakes. Their grammar's terrible, right? I know. I've taught so many students. I know lots of people think that and fear that. They fear making those mistakes. They think that people are judging them when they're speaking. The simple truth is, they're not. Okay, maybe there's 1% of the people are kind of jerks, but 99% of the people, they're not judging you. They don't care. They don't care if you make a grammar mistake. They don't care. It's in your head. You're creating all this nervousness and fear and all this. It's just all in here. And I know it comes from being corrected in school, and it comes from this fear of making mistakes and not being perfect that we learn in school and other places. I know where it comes from, but we need to realize that these are crazy thoughts. These are crazy thoughts and we're only hurting ourselves. Another lesson I learned from that experience was that often all you need to do is just make the first little effort to connect. Now, this is tough for me sometimes. I'm actually quite an introvert, meaning I'm not super social with people I don't know. Right? I'm not someone, I don't just walk up to people and say, "Hi, how you doing? My name's AJ." I'm pretty quiet when I'm with people I don't know. It's my natural tendency, my natural personality. And this is kind of a common situation, right? You might be in public, like in a train, like I was. You might be in a restaurant. You might be at a party, dinner meetings, whatever, a business meeting. And everybody's being kind of quiet, right? No, everyone just looks, their faces are kind of blank. And you might, again, start thinking these thoughts in your head. Oh, these people, they're unfriendly. They're cold. But if you just make the first effort, what it is really is that everyone's thinking exactly the same thing. They're all thinking exactly that same thing. Oh, maybe these other people aren't very friendly. That's what everyone in the room's thinking. Just like in that train, maybe they were thinking, oh, maybe that guy is weird. He looks really strange, this American dude, his hair, and he's just looking down. He won't look at us. Maybe he doesn't like Indian people. I don't know. Maybe they were thinking thoughts like that too. And I think often that's what's actually going on. And you just need one person. One person needs to just look up and look in someone else's eyes and smile and say, "Hi. Hi, I'm AJ. Oh, hi, how are you?" Now, in that Indian train, I didn't even need to talk. I just had to look up, look someone in the eyes, and give them a little smile. Even though it was a nervous, fearful smile, it still worked, right? I smiled, and it broke all the stress, all the tension, completely changed the whole situation. That was a valuable lesson to learn. I still have to remind myself of this sometimes when I get in situations and I'm feeling shy and quiet, and I feel like, oh, everyone else is also, they're unfriendly, and I got to remind myself, no, remember that time in India, they're probably just shy and quiet too. That's all. Someone just needs to say hi and give a smile, and then suddenly, all the pressure eases. Everyone else will start smiling, and then people start chatting, and everyone will appreciate when you do it. So again, don't worry about your English. With just a little smile and a hello, you can make that connection. It doesn't matter if your English is not very good. Nobody's going to care about that. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Just being the person who gives a smile, looks someone in the eye, and just says hello. That's just one word in English. It's more about your attitude, your face, and being the person to take the initiative, being that person to take that risk to connect. And when you do that, you're going to find that most people, I don't know the exact percent, 80%, 90%, whatever, most people are going to smile back and also say hello and start chatting with you. In a lot of parts of the United States, if you visit America, people love to talk. Like where I'm from in the South, they love talking to strangers. So if you smile and say hello, most people, they'll be happy to chat with you. Now in some other parts of the country, people are a little more quiet. They won't talk quite as much to strangers. But again, I think you'll find just by giving that smile and that greeting, people will be happy to talk to you. And most people don't care how good or bad your English is. All right, I like to end always with our code and our mission. Now, our code simply describes how we treat each other in the Effortless English family, our members, our fans. It's very, very simple. It's just 3 parts. Number 1, we do the best we can. We know we can't be perfect. We know we will make mistakes. We do the best we can. Number 2, we do the right thing. We try to be good. We try to be helpful. We try to be honest. And number 3, we show each other we care. We help each other. We're not competing to see who's better. We help each other in the Effortless English family. Very important. And our mission, our deep mission, to explore new opportunities for growth. Meaning we're always trying to learn and grow. To bring confidence, vitality, and happiness to people all over the world. Meaning helping other people around the world. To boldly go where we have never gone before. Meaning to explore and learn with an attitude of boldness, to have courage, to have strength, not to be afraid. All right, that's it for our show. Follow me on Twitter at AJ Hoge, AJHOGE, and ask me questions. I'll share more details and information about this show on Twitter during this following week. And of course, as always, go to effortlessenglishclub.com to learn more about my Effortless English courses. I will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye for now.